Okay, we'll call to order the Raymore Parks and Recreation Board meeting for Tuesday, October 25th, 2022. May I have a roll call, please?
Member Collier.
Present.
Member Manson.
Present.
Member Troutman.
Present.
Member Clark.
Present.
Member Cooper.
Present.
Member Mapes.
Present.
Member Scott and Member Hoover are absent.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll just give you mine.
Okay, no personal appearances, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. I need approval of the Park Board minutes, August 23rd, 2022.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Bill.
I recommend we approve the minutes for that date.
Okay, hearing a first and second, any modifications? Seeing none, we'll take it to vote. All those in favor? Passes 6-0, 2 absent. Next, we'll move into staff reports. Director?
Thank you, sir. The staff report for recreation and facilities is submitted by Superintendent Gibbs, but he is currently in Branson attending a conference for Missouri Public Risk. So I'll just let his written report speak for itself and move on and call on Mr. Rulo for Parks report.
Thank you. I've also submitted a written report. Just wanted to add a few other things. First of all, I'd like to get a big thank you out to the Girl Scout Troop 2256 this last weekend. They went down to Recreation Park back where the fort area is. The fort was looking kind of bad, needed some help. They had asked if they could come in, clean it up, replace some ballasts. I think they replaced a whole railing, cleaned up some of the graffiti that was on the boat, and just cleaned up the whole area really nice. They did a very good job, and I'd like to say thank you again to them. Also, my staff, within the next couple weeks, will be up at TB Hanna, and we'll be converting the shelter into the ice rink here in probably about 2 weeks. They've been working on painting all the boards that you actually see, kind of give it a new life there, look a little bit better. And so 2 to 3 weeks, start looking for that. And last, the staff will finish up all the maintenance of the game fields down at Recreation Park. I believe tonight is the last day of baseball. This weekend we finish up soccer and flag football, I do believe, and we also have our last Sunday night, have our last softball league. So looking forward to some rest there on the fields, and with that I would take any questions.
Any questions for Superintendent Rulo? Okay, thank you, sir. Director?
Thank you, sir. I have a written report as well. Just a couple highlights. This week, like I said, Superintendent Gibbs is in Branson attending the Missouri Public Risk Conference with our HR director, the chief of police, and I believe Ryan Murdoch, assistant city manager. So that's a pretty decent conference for those guys. And also tomorrow and Thursday, Todd is taking my place at the Missouri-Kansas Executive Forum, which is a two-day conference for Parks and Rec directors, deputy directors, kind of the higher level. But this year's conference is on recruitment and retention of employees. And so I wanted Todd to go and get some experience at that level of conference and training, but also it seemed like a very appropriate subject matter for given his role. So Todd will be doing that. So you get me and Steve for the rest of the week in charge of this operation, and we'll see what kind of shape we're in at the end of the week. Next week, Corinne returns from maternity leave, so excited to get her back and taking off some of the workload of Greta, Todd, Jimmy, and Steve, and everybody kind of picked up and picked up the slack there. So excited to have her back. Let's see. Veterans Day is November 10th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Centerview. We haven't finalized the main keynote speaker. Jimmy told me today that it is most likely either the mayor or Councilmember Townsend, both veterans. A simple ceremony, nothing major, nothing fancy. That seems to be how those guys like it. So no, it's on Thursday. 11th is actual Veterans Day, and we're off. So it is on Thursday, the 10th. But those guys don't want a lot of hoopla, and so the ceremony's usually pretty short and sweet, but it's nice. So more details will come out on that. Let's see. Projects are still underway with the skate park, the Hawk Ridge West, and the Hawk's Nest. Feels like these are never-ending projects, but I will also say that in the midst of every project, it feels like a never-ending project, and it always feels like problems are arising. And then when it's over, it really wasn't any worse than any other project. It's just bad in the moment kind of a thing. So I don't want to talk bad about the projects, but it feels like they can't end right now. We really are ready for them to, get over and be on the downhill side. But I'm happy to answer any questions that we can on the projects at this time. And finally, I was able to go to the second grade class of Raymore Elementary. Got to spend 45 minutes of my lunch break on their time and answer questions about anything and everything they could throw at me. It was wonderful. And because of that, next spring, I will be invited to 3 or 4 more elementary schools to do the same thing. I was able to postpone that through the winter. I'm not sure why they didn't want to do it immediately, but they did email me back and say they want to, just not yet. I'm like, that's fine, whenever. But it was a good time. I love going to the classrooms and talking to the kids and telling them how cool Parks and Rec is and everything that we get to do. And I bet I answered the question, how long have I been in my job, about 10 times before the teacher finally stepped in and said, he's already answered that. No more. Don't ask again. And then one kid asked it again, and she just said next, and we just moved on. But anyway, that's my staff report. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the director? I do have a comment. I'm sure you love being back in second grade. Those were the best 3 years of your school career.
I spent a lot of time in the corner of my
But
classroom. That's why I'm a public servant, sir.
all right, we have no unfinished business, so we will move to new business. Action item A, award of contract J&M Displays. Director?
Okay, so as we are on track to have a record breaker meeting, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. This is pretty standard. It is our one-year contract for the fireworks display. That is a renewable contract for an additional 2 one-year terms, if that makes any sense. So we can go up to 3 years before we have to rebid this. This was submitted immediately following the celebration this past year so that we would get a jump on it, have enough time in case anything happened. We did increase the budget. As you guys know, this past year we did a budget amendment to bump it to $22,000, which is what paid for our show that's been consistent over the past 6 years. So we increased that budget. This is the same show that we have been getting. That was submitted. We did receive 2 bids. Our previous vendor, J&M Displays, and then the Premier Pyrotechnics. Superintendent Gibbs went through, made a sheet of a comparison. I will tell you, we learned a lot in this process. On the next time we bid this, our comparison, our apples to apples, will be much different because every proposal that we see is just completely different. Premier Pyrotechnics call it cakes. J&M Displays call them cakes or mortars. Then you go into their proposal and they're drastically different, even though they're calling them the same thing. So your comparison is still not apples to apples, no matter how you break it down. So we did very close to the best we could. And what you see here also on our breakdown, our bid tab, is there's J&M Displays provides a lot more product and then several discounts that brings that budget back down in there. So bottom line is we're receiving a much larger show with more product for J&M Displays than we did with Premier at the same price is what it breaks down to. And there's just really no comparison. So we are recommending J&M Displays for a 1-year contract and an amount of $22,000. And I am happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the director? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Bill.
I move we award the fireworks display contract to J&M Displays Incorporated for the June 30th, 2023 date. I believe that's the correct one.
That is
With
the Friday before
Right.
the 4th.
With the option to renew that contract for an additional 2 1-year extensions in 2024 and 2025.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, hearing a first and second, any discussion? Seeing none, we'll go to vote. All those in favor? Passes 6-0, 2 absent. Okay, no public for public comments, so we'll move into board member comment. Start with you, Dan.
I don't have any comments today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ken?
Just a quick shout out from the reports and stuff. It just brought to mind that our Parks and Rec department is always ever diligent, and it shows, and we appreciate it. Just wanted to throw that at you.
Thank you, sir. Patrick?
I was wondering, Director, when you were with the Creekmore students, was there anything particular that stood out that an evaluation of a park or what majority of the kids liked doing outside?
Well, I did go to Creekmore invited me via Zoom. So I did a Zoom meeting with Creekmore, and that's what triggered Raymore inviting me to speak in person. The one thing that stuck out was they really liked the idea of designing playgrounds. I caught them right before their recess, and so I got questioned significantly on did I design their playground at their school. And then when they realized that just dovetailed into the mud run and how many of them actually participated in the mud run. And then, and then we talked about the new playground at Rec Park, and from there I kind of lost control, and it was very chaotic, and teachers had to step in. But I think Parks and Rec in general is just an easy topic to talk about with little kids because it's what they love. And so it was the designing of parks that was really pretty cool for them. They didn't realize that we actually get to design it and pick what is put in a park. It's not just thrown out there, So that was
Well,
pretty
and
neat.
your presence there is also increasing their awareness of jobs too.
Yes.
So that's
I
a
didn't
neat
tell
thing.
them about the weekly trash cleanup, so they left pretty excited about a future job.
Thank you, sir. Josh?
No, there's a lot of projects going on, and you guys have been busy, so thanks for all you've done.
Thank you, sir. Bill?
Same here. I want to always thank the staff for doing an exceptional job, especially when you consider the director has challenging questions from second graders and that he's able to answer them. That's impressive.
And I'll finish with a couple notes. Thanks to the Girl Scout Troop 2256. The fort was looking a little tired, and that's awesome that they helped spruce it up because it gets a lot of work. Thanks to staff, obviously the citizens of Raymore, City Council, the mayor, We couldn't do it without all of you, and we appreciate the backing and support. So, yes, sir.
I have one more update I forgot to submit in
Yes, sir.
last night for the first reading of the city council, we have preliminarily a contract for the property 216 Adams Street next to TB Hanna Station. So that did go through first reading with very encouraging words from the council. So in 2 weeks when we're back at council, second read, that contract will be final, and we will have ever so slightly increased our parkland.
Very nice. Awesome. All right, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Chairman, I move we move for a motion for this meeting.
Okay?
I'll second that.
Okay. Hearing a first and second, all those in favor? Passes 6-0, 2 absent. Meeting adjourned.